You know that moment when a word is right on the tip of your tongue, but it slips away, or when you walk into a room and suddenly can't remember why. These little lapses happen to almost everyone over 60. The good news? They don't mean your memory is failing. In fact, research shows that just 1 minute a day of a simple brain exercise may help keep your mind sharper. I've seen patients light up when they realize how small, consistent habits can make those frustrating moments less frequent. Let me show you how it works. Ever notice how some people in their 70s or 80s recall names, dates, and details with ease, while others struggle? The difference often isn't genetics. It's how they engage their brains daily. Neuroscientists have found that novelty is key. Learning a skill, solving unfamiliar puzzles, or even taking a different route home can strengthen neural connections. One study revealed that adults who practiced a new language for just 15 minutes a day showed measurable improvements in memory retention within weeks. Another surprising trick? Physical movement. Balancing on one foot while brushing your teeth or using your non-dominant hand for simple tasks forces your brain to adapt, creating fresh pathways. The best part? These techniques don't just preserve memory, they can actually reverse minor cognitive decline. Start today, and your future self will thank you. As a doctor who's worked with older adults for years, I understand that worry in the back of your mind. The fear that one day you might not recognize a grandchild's face or forget how to use your favorite coffee mug. That fear is real, and it's okay to feel it. But here's what I tell my patients. Your brain isn't a fixed, fading thing. It's more like clay always ready to be reshaped, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. I've held the hands of people who assumed decline was inevitable, only to watch them rediscover little victories, remembering where they left their keys, finishing a story without losing the thread. That's not luck. It's science. Your brain adapts every time you challenge it gently, like a muscle growing stronger with use. And the best part? You don't need hours of puzzles or expensive programs. Often, it starts with just 60 seconds a day, a small investment with the power to change how you experience the world. I've seen patients light up when they realize how small, consistent habits can make those frustrating moments less frequent. Let me show you how it works. You know how a garden thrives when we tend to it regularly? Your brain works in much the same way. For years, many believed memory loss was simply an unavoidable part of aging, like a garden, withering with the seasons. But research shows our brains keep growing new connections throughout life, just as plants send out fresh roots when given water and care. I've worked with patients in their 80s who maintain remarkably sharp recall simply by nurturing their mental landscape daily. We call them super agers, and their secret isn't extraordinary, it's consistency. They engage their minds through small, purposeful habits that encourage growth. Think of it this way. Unused garden paths get overgrown, while well-trodden ones stay clear. Your neural pathways follow the same principle. The good news? It's never too late to start tending to your mental garden. Even brief, daily attention can help strengthen those connections, which is why that simple 60-second exercise we discussed earlier can make a real difference for many people. Here's fresh content continuing the theme. What's fascinating is how adaptable the brain remains even later in life. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, means every new skill or bit of knowledge can forge fresh pathways. Take learning a language or playing an instrument. Studies show these activities don't just add mental foliage. They thicken the brain's cortex, enhancing memory and focus. Sleep, too, acts like a nightly pruning session, clearing away mental clutter so new growth can flourish. And while genetics play a role, lifestyle choices like movement and social engagement water these neural gardens far more than we once realized. Even stress management matters. Chronic tension releases hormones that can stunt cognitive growth, much like drought starves a plant. The key takeaway? Your brain isn't a static plot of land. It's a living ecosystem, responsive to the care you give it. Small, deliberate actions compound over time, proving that decline isn't inevitable. It's a matter of daily cultivation. Think of your brain like a forest full of walking trails. The paths you use most often, like remembering your morning routine or your grandchild's birthday, become wide, well-trodden highways. But the trails you rarely take, like recalling an old friend's phone number or where you left your keys, start to grow over with weeds. That's not a sign something's broken. It's just how the brain prioritizes. The more you use a pathway, the stronger it gets. Now, here's the catch. When we stick to the same routines day after day, our brains switch to autopilot. It's efficient, sure, but it's like only ever walking the same 3 trails in that forest. Over time, the unused paths become harder to find. That's where this 60-second exercise comes in. By combining gentle movement with a simple mental task, you're essentially pushing aside the bushes to carve out new trails. You're telling your brain, hey, we're taking a different route today. It's not about memorizing endless lists or solving puzzles that leave you frustrated. It's about breaking those autopilot patterns just for a minute to wake up connections that might have gotten a little dusty. And just like maintaining a forest trail, a little regular upkeep can make all the difference in keeping the pathways clear. Let me tell you about Mrs. Henderson, not her real name, of course, but someone many of my patients remind me of. She'd be mid-conversation, telling me about her granddaughter's recital, when suddenly, that word, that name, would slip away. The flower she held, oh, what's it called? She'd laugh it off, but I could see the worry in her eyes. Like so many, she feared these small stumbles were the first steps downhill. We started with just 60 seconds a day. At first, she'd wave her hands. Doc, I've gardened for 40 years. I know my roses from my daisies. But here's the thing. It wasn't about the flowers. It was about pausing the autopilot. After a few weeks, she noticed something subtle. Those mid-sentence pauses, fewer. That mental fog when searching for a word, a little lighter. One morning, she marched in holding a list, all the herbs in my window box alphabetized. Now, I'd never claimed this erased decades of aging. But for Mrs. Henderson, that tiny daily habit became her way of tending to her mind like she tended her garden, one deliberate minute at a time. The change wasn't overnight. Some days she'd mix up the categories. Why on earth did I say tractor when naming spices? But consistency mattered more than perfection. What stayed with me was her note last Christmas, still doing my minute. Even my bridge groups joined in, though they still cheat at naming capitals. That's the heart of it. Small, steady steps that add up without pressure or panic. Your journey might look different, but the principle holds, dusting off those pathways, one mindful minute a day. Here's how we begin the exercise, simple but purposeful. First, find a sturdy chair and sit tall at the very edge, feet flat on the floor. This posture keeps you alert, not slouched or too relaxed. Now, take a slow breath in through your nose. Let your belly expand, not just your chest. Then exhale gently through your mouth, like you're fogging up a window. Do this 3 times. That's it. No rush, no strain. These breaths signal to your brain it's time to focus. For the first 30 seconds, keep breathing that way as you raise your arms straight out to the sides, palms up, like you're holding 2 trays. Lift them slowly to shoulder height on the inhale. Lower them on the exhale. The movement should feel smooth, almost lazy. This isn't a workout. It's about waking up the connection between your body and mind. At the 30-second mark, keep those arms moving, but add this. Name items in a category out loud. Start easy fruits, tools, anything familiar. Say apple, banana, pear as your arms float up and down. If you blank, skip it and grab the next word. The goal isn't perfection. It's pulling your brain off autopilot. That's the whole exercise, 1 minute of deliberate dual tasking motion. Tomorrow, you might pick a tougher category. Today, just start. Now, let's begin with the first 30 seconds of the exercise. Sit tall at the edge of your chair. This posture helps keep you alert. Take a slow breath in through your nose, filling your lungs gently, then exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension. As you breathe, start raising your arms slowly, palms facing up, like you're lifting something light and precious. Match the movement to your breath. Arms rise as you inhale, lower as you exhale. Keep it smooth, no rushing. This isn't about strength. It's about waking up those connections between your brain and body. The gentle motion boosts blood flow, sending oxygen to the areas that handle focus and coordination. Think of it as warming up the engine before a drive. If your mind wanders, just guide it back to the rhythm of your breath and movement. Tomorrow, you might pick a tougher category. Today, just start. Let's dive into the next phase. After completing the initial breathing and arm movements, shift your focus to your lower body. Begin by gently tapping your feet on the ground, alternating between left and right. This subtle motion activates the muscles in your legs and feet, encouraging circulation and grounding your energy. As you tap, maintain the rhythm of your breath. Inhale deeply, exhale fully. Gradually increase the intensity of the tapping, feeling the connection between your feet and the floor. This exercise not only enhances physical awareness, but also helps in stabilizing your posture. Next, introduce a slight forward lean from your hips, keeping your back straight. This action engages your core muscles, promoting balance and strength. Remember, the goal is to synchronize your movements with your breathing, creating a harmonious flow. If distractions arise, gently refocus on the sensation of your body in motion. This practice prepares your entire system for more complex tasks ahead, building a foundation of mindfulness and physical readiness. Now, for the next 30 seconds, we're going to add a little challenge, but don't worry, it's still gentle. Keep those arms moving smoothly, just like before. This time, as you breathe and move, I want you to name items from a simple category out loud. You might say fruits, apple, banana, orange or tools, hammer, wrench, screwdriver. Pick whatever comes easiest today. The key is to keep your body and your words flowing together. This dual task, moving while thinking and speaking, is like giving your brain a tiny nudge out of autopilot. It asks different regions to work as a team, just like neighbors chatting over a fence. Some parts handle the movement, others grab the right words, and they all learn to cooperate a little better each time. If your mind goes blank for a second, that's okay. Pause, take a breath, and try again. No rush. The goal isn't perfection. It's simply waking up those connections. Tomorrow, you might pick a tougher category. Today, just start. Now, let's take this a step further, still easy, but with a twist. As you continue moving, shift your focus slightly. This time, name items from your chosen category backwards. If you picked fruit, say orange, banana, apple instead. Tools, screwdriver, wrench, hammer. Reverse the order, but keep the rhythm steady. This tweak adds a subtle layer of mental flexibility. Your brain isn't just retrieving words, it's rearranging them, like shuffling cards midair. Notice how it feels different? That's your cognitive muscles stretching a bit further. If it trips you up, laugh it off and reset. The stumble is part of the process. Tomorrow, you might try alternating words with claps or counting syllables. For now, just play with the reversal. No pressure, no score, just curiosity. How does your mind adapt when you flip the script? Let's find out. Think of your brain like an orchestra playing a beautiful symphony. When you do this simple exercise, moving your arms while naming words, it's like the conductor bringing different sections together. Your attention section wakes up to focus on the task. Your coordination section keeps the movement smooth. And your memory section digs through its files to pull out the right words. What's fascinating is how these regions start talking to each other more efficiently over time. It's not about one superstar area doing all the work. Just like an orchestra sounds best when every instrument listens and responds, your brain thrives when these regions sync up. The gentle movement gets blood flowing to support them, while the mental challenge nudges them out of autopilot. For many people, this dual task approach, combining light physical activity with a mental puzzle, feels like giving the brain a gentle tune-up. Not because it's overly difficult, but because it asks different parts to collaborate in a new way. And just like musicians practicing scales, consistency matters more than perfection. Tomorrow, you might pick a tougher category. Today, just start. Here's your narration for the weekly progression B. Now, let's talk about how to grow with this exercise over time. In week 1, keep it simple, name easy categories like fruits or household items. Just let the words flow without pressure. By week 2, add a little challenge. Pick a starting letter like B and name only items that begin with it: banana, broom, Boston. This nudges your brain to search a bit deeper. When you reach week 3, switch gears, count backward out loud from 100 by threes. It might feel tricky at first, and that's okay. The stumble is where the growth happens. By week 4, mix it all up. If naming cities feels too familiar, try alternating between colors and animals. The key is to gently stretch your mind, not strain it. If a task starts feeling automatic, that's your cue to change the rules. One patient told me she added silly twists, like naming only red objects or words with double letters. What matters is keeping your brain just slightly off balance, like a tree bending in the wind, growing stronger without breaking. And remember, there's no test here. If counting backward feels overwhelming today, stay with categories. Tomorrow's another minute. Now, let's talk about how to make the most of this simple exercise and what might get in the way. First, the mistakes to avoid. Don't rush through it. This isn't about speed. It's about giving your brain a gentle challenge. Skipping days is another common slip. Like watering a plant, consistency matters more than intensity. And try to minimize distractions. Turn off the TV. Put your phone aside. Just 1 quiet minute is all we're asking for. Now, for the boosters, little things that can make this habit stick. Start with a glass of water. Hydration helps brain function, and it's an easy win. Smile while you do it. Sounds silly, but it lightens the mood and signals to your brain that this is a positive moment. And here's a powerful one. Teach it to someone else. Maybe a friend, a grandchild, or your partner. Explaining it reinforces the habit for you, and who knows, you might help them too. Remember, if counting backward feels overwhelming today, stay with categories. Tomorrow's another minute. This isn't about perfection. It's about showing up gently for yourself. And as always, if you have any concerns, check with your doctor. They know you best. Now, let's be clear. This isn't a magic trick or a quick fix. It's a gentle, science-backed way to give your brain a little daily workout, like stretching for your mind. Think of it as tending to your brain's garden, 1 minute at a time. I'd love for you to give it a try for just 1 week, 60 seconds a day, and see how it feels. Maybe you'll notice a little more clarity, or maybe it'll just feel like a pleasant pause in your day. Either way, I'd love to hear how it goes for you in the comments below. And as always, if you have any concerns, check with your doctor. They know you best. Remember, small steps can add up to meaningful changes, and your brain, just like you, deserves that kindness and care. Here's to sharper moments ahead. Here's a fresh continuation in English without repeating previous content. Imagine your mind as a quiet lake. Each ripple represents a thought, a distraction, or a moment of focus. The practice we're discussing isn't about silencing the water, but learning to observe its movements without getting swept away. Neuroscientists have found that even brief, consistent pauses can reshape neural pathways, enhancing resilience and emotional balance. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. Whether you're a busy parent, a student, or navigating a high-pressure job, these micro moments of stillness can become anchors in your day. Consider pairing it with a routine, perhaps with your morning coffee or before bedtime, to build the habit effortlessly. Share what surprises you along the way, a moment of unexpected calm, a creative spark, or simply the relief of pausing in a fast-paced world. Your experiences might inspire others too. Let's explore this together, one mindful minute